Hey guys, today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my experience with my breast augmentation, and so far officially as of today I'm 1 week and 4 days post-op. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of answer some questions that you guys have been wanting to know about my procedure. So the doctor that I went with, his name is Dr. Todd Case, and he's out in Tucson, Arizona. I paid a total of $4,600 in cash. The type of implant that I got a silicone round high profile, and I got 350 cc's. I knew that I have always wanted like a breast augmentation. Like I've always wanted it since I realized like my boobs aren't gonna grow. And so I knew that I officially was gonna go through with it after I breastfed my son for over a year. And I mean, if you're a mom, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah. So I scheduled my consultation, which he does charge $50, which will go towards your surgery if you go through with it. Scheduled my consultation, and it was like around February 15th. And my surgery was scheduled 1 month later, March 14th. So it all happened fairly quickly. But prior to going to Dr. Todd Case, I actually had already seen 2 other doctors, one in Scottsdale and one in Phoenix. And keep in mind, I am located in Glendale, so a drive to Tucson was going to be, you know, an extra 2 hours of a trip to make it out there. But I'll explain why I chose him leading up to that. So the 2 consultations that I had before, the first one I loved him, he was awesome. I made sure obviously that the consultations that I went to, they were board certified plastic surgeons. And the one in Scottsdale was amazing. He made me feel comfortable. He made me try on, he let me try on some sizes, and everything was really good. His prices were a little bit high. I told him that I wanted it for my birthday last year, and my birthday is coming up in about 3 months. So it's been like almost a year. And I told him I wanted it for my birthday. Is there any kind of promotion going on? He had a summer promotion going on during the time, but the implants were still going to cost roughly around $7,000, not including anesthesia, medications and stuff like that. And I was actually ready to do my surgery. I was gonna go through with it, but just me being the kind of woman that I am, I was like, okay, let me go get a second opinion, let me go see another doctor, let me go see what maybe his plans are, his before and afters, his reviews. And so I found another doctor in Phoenix, and I decided to go check him out. I won't mention any names, you know, just for privacy reasons, but the second doctor that I went to go see, I did not like. He was very cocky. I actually attended his breast augmentation seminar where we got a gift bag, and right off the bat, when I walked in there, I didn't really feel comfortable. A lot of his staff were just snobby, very just okay, quick, do you want to, do not. And I just didn't like that personally. And what I knew for sure was the last straw was when I went for my consultation, because I went back after the seminar. I went back for my consultation, and I told him, hey, you know, I had my own concerns, just what I wanted for my body, and I just had questions, right? And I told him, okay, so the previous doctor told me I wouldn't need a lift, and then he literally didn't even let me finish and was like, okay, stop, I don't care what the other doctor told you, you're here to see me, and this is what I'm gonna tell you. And he had a very just serious and I get it, okay, cool, you're very confident, and I mean, you have amazing clients with great results, but as a professional, that's your profession, is to help women feel better about their bodies and perform plastic surgery on them. You should make them feel a little bit comfortable. And to me, that was something that I was like, okay, look, you know what? No, I don't know. I'm going under anesthesia, and I don't know if I trust you. It's just something to me that I was like, no, I'm not going to go through with him. So I ended up not doing it last summer and saved up a bunch of, raised my savings account, and I knew for sure, going into the new year, I was gonna get my boobs done. So I had still been doing my research, and I found Dr. Todd Case in Tucson. One of my friends got her boobs done there, and they look really good. So I asked her like, hey, how much did you pay? Because I mean, I wouldn't mind driving up there. Your boobs look great. And she was like, I paid like $4,800. And I was like, what? Like, that's crazy. Like, compared to the prices from Phoenix and Scottsdale to Tucson, I was like, wow, that's like a really good price difference. And I like to be very smart with my money. Like, I made sure obviously I had my savings for my breast augmentation because it was something that I wanted, and I wanted to make sure like I was thinking about doing payments just because I had the money already. So I was like, yeah, well, if I do get like care credit or something to finance my surgery, then I would have the money just to raise my credit score. But so I like think about things like that. Like, I'm very, I don't know, I just like to keep my options open, and I like to make very smart moves with my money. So I was like, okay, cool, like I'm gonna look him up. So I researched him, saw his before and afters, read his reviews, everything was great. So I called, and right off the bat, like, his assistant was super, super nice. Everybody that works with Dr. Todd Case in his office, and by the way, like, there's no way that this would be like sponsored or anything. So I'm genuinely giving you guys my opinion and my experience so far. Everybody that works in his office and at the surgery center that he performs his surgeries at are like amazing people. They're super, super sweet. They take the time to really care for you, and I'll go into that later, like when I explain like how I was like post-op, like right after surgery. But they take the time to really like cater to every single one of your needs. So I had a bunch of questions over the phone, and I was like, hey, like, I don't want to make the drive if it's not going to be worth it. Like, just let me know, you know, I have this question, that question. And she answered all of the questions. So I was like, okay, F it, I'm just going to go do it. And obviously I had the money, so I was really excited to just go through with it. I ended up doing my consultation, paid the $50 consultation fee, tried on sizes. He answered a bunch of my questions. I breastfed my son for over a year, so I had more droopiness in my breast and not a lot of like breast tissue. So with that being said, like, I had a concern about whether I was going to need a breast lift or not, and he was like, no, absolutely not. Like, your boobs are fine. As soon as we put the implants in, they're going to look great. And so I was like, awesome, like, that was good news to me. So I was like super excited. And now he measures you based off of like your rib cage area, and then of course, like, so if you were to look like, if there was a camera above me looking down at my rib cage, so it would look like this, right? Now everyone's rib cage can be a little bit different. If yours is more like pointed this way, that means your boobs are going to come out like this. So, and if yours is more like indented, your boobs are going to be more together. If yours is just normal, your boobs are just going to sit normal. So he measured me, he did all the numbers, which I was really like glad he did, and he did in front of me, like measured me, like, you know, just did the whole consultation thing, and let me know that I couldn't go past a 375cc implant because it just wouldn't measure, it wouldn't sit right. Like, it would either be like sticking out too much off to the side and like really, really close together where I could have like a uni boob, and that's a real thing, you guys. Like, if you're looking into plastic surgery, your breast implants could like merge together if they're too big for your frame. So he was like, go ahead, try on the 325ccs, and I did. I tried them on, I liked it, but I was like, okay, let me try the 350. So I tried on the 350ccs and I liked it, and I was like, I'm just gonna go the bigger size. Just gonna go the bigger size just in case, because they did tell me, like, you know, once the swelling goes down, right now my breasts are still swollen, and I'm only in my surgical bra, so I could show you guys what they look like. I just scratched myself right here, so that's why it's like red. Anyway, so I was like, I'm gonna go with 350ccs. Then I scheduled, that same day of my consultation, I scheduled my pre-op appointment, which was like 2 weeks later, and I paid $500 there at the office just to get like a chunk out of the way because I had it with me. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna give you the 500, and then that way for my pre-op, because at your pre-op appointment, when you're getting ready for surgery, like the pre-operative appointment, you do have to have it paid off. Scheduled my surgery, and he let me know, like, on my pre-op, he gave me my prescriptions, and I got Percocets for pain, I got Valium for muscle spasms, and I got something called like cephalexin, and that's just an antibiotic that you must take because your body's obviously getting some foreign objects in there, so you want to make sure your body's not like fighting it off too much. So I was to take those. I went, and the days leading up to my surgery, I made sure that I had my prescriptions filled out. I made sure that I had my antibacterial soap, which is something that is required, at least from my doctor. He said to take a bath with, or take a shower with antibacterial soap. So I made sure I went to go get that. And then something just extra for myself, I got some arnica, which helps muscle soreness and bruising, because I didn't want to bruise. And by the way, I haven't bruised. I had one small bruise like this size, literally like, it was like this size, not even bigger than that, and it was right here, like on the side of my boob, and that went away like in 2 days after my surgery. So I got the arnica for that, and then I got some bio oil because I didn't want to get stretch marks on my boobs. I was just scared because I'm petite. Obviously, I didn't really have a lot of boobs to begin with, so with getting those implants, I was like, I don't want to get any stretch marks. So I got some bio oil. I just got the smaller one. The day before surgery, I wasn't nervous at all until that day. Like, that day was like my nerves were really being worked up, and I was like just hesitant, but I knew I was gonna do it. I wasn't hesitant to the point where like, oh my god, I'm probably just gonna not do it. Like, no, once I know, like, I'm the kind of person, like, once I've put my money somewhere, like, I'm gonna go through with it. I'm not gonna waste money. I'm not gonna like go back on something that I know I want later on anyway. So I was like, okay, like, just getting excited and nervous, and we ended up staying at Brandon's mom's house, who lives in Chandler, so it was like a closer drive from Chandler to Tucson, rather than, you know, driving all the way from Glendale. So we stayed there. She let us stay there like 4 days while I was recovering afterwards. So I had to take one shower the day before surgery. I had to take one shower in the morning with antibacterial soap. I had to take one at night with antibacterial soap, and then one in the morning the day of surgery with the antibacterial soap. And I had to let it sit on my body. So I went and I just bought like also a new loofah, like a sponge. I bought myself a new towel. I'm very like selective with the things that I do, and I knew like I had never done surgery, and I just didn't want to get any infections, didn't want to deal with anything extra besides me just healing my body. So I just made sure like everything was clean. The day before my surgery, I like kind of cleaned up where I was gonna like sleep in the living room area. And then I also packed some CR7. So what that is, CR7 is this product right here. If you guys don't already know, like, I'm an Herbalife coach. I have access to all of the Herbalife products. I have a discount on them, so hit me up if you're interested. But no, this product right here, if you guys don't recognize him, he's Cristiano Ronaldo. He's a famous #1 soccer player in the world, and he's actually sponsored by our company. But what his product is pretty much giving you electrolytes, hydration, everything that your body needs when you're doing like a big activity. So like when you're playing soccer, he's a #1 soccer player. You drink this instead of like Gatorade that has a bunch of sugar. So I made sure I had like CR7 for, you know, while I was recovering and stuff, and that helped a lot. But now let's get into what it was like getting my surgery. The day of surgery, I get there, I get registered, and let me tell you, like, even the lady who helped me register at the hospital was super sweet. Like, everybody that worked with Dr. Todd Case for my surgery was like very, very like awesome. I loved all of them. And she was like, awesome, like, you're getting boobs on, blah, blah, blah. And so the nurse that I got to see, Brandon wasn't able to see me like going like into like my pre-op room. I had to put on like my hospital gown and my little hospital cap for my hair. And then the nurse was awesome. He was super, super sweet with me. He brought me some warm socks because I came in chancletas, and he was like, are your feet cold? And I was like, yeah. So he brought me some socks, and he brought me a warm blanket, and he was like, how are you feeling? Like, are you nervous? And I was like, no, I'm not really nervous. Like, the more that I talked about my surgery and like asked questions, the more comfortable I felt with it. I wasn't like nervous about it. Like, I want to hear it more, so I'm not nervous. When I don't hear about like my surgery, when I wasn't like talking about it and stuff, and then I think like, oh, I'm getting my boobs done, I would get nervous. But the more I talked about it, the less nervous I got. And he put the IV in through right here, the side of my wrist, and he was just answering questions for me, like just talking to me casually, making conversation. And then the anesthesiologist came in, and that's when Brandon was in the room. And the anesthesiologist was like being funny and like, you know, just, he was so cute. He was a shorter guy with like glasses that made his eyes look really big. And I asked him, I was like, hey, what happens if I wake up during surgery? That was one of my main concerns. I have never done any kind of surgery. This is my only surgery. So he's like, trust me, I've been doing this for over 35 years. That's never happened. So I was like, okay, cool. So the two nurses came in that were my assistant nurses, and they introduced themselves. They were really sweet as well. And everybody that I met was just like in a really good mood. And even the lady who like I heard on the other side of the room, she was like, oh yeah, like I had to close last night and I'm here this morning opening. But she was like in a really good mood. So everybody was just like happy that day, and I loved it. I was like, heck yeah. The anesthesiologist is like, okay, so we're getting you prepped. And then he gives me, I see like this little container and it looks like apple juice, like a little tube. And then he's putting it into like my IV on my wrist. And he's like, okay, now this is your little shot of tequila. And I was like, we were just like having a good time in like my pre-op room. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna need more than one. Like just, we were laughing and stuff. And as soon, I'm like watching him do it. And like, I remember like looking up at him. And when I like turned and I saw like the nurses, and then I saw like Brandon on the other side of the room, I was just like, whoa, like it just hit me. I was like, I looked at the nurses and I was like, I feel tipsy, and they were like laughing. And then they started like pumping up like my bed like up higher so they can push me. So they pushed me all the way into surgery room, and that whatever he gave me in there, it was like calming stuff, calming juice. I don't know what it was, honestly. When he gave me that, I was just so like tipsy, you guys. Like I felt like I had really taken some shots of tequila. And so I don't remember much. I just remember like going into like the surgery room and seeing like all of the equipment and seeing my bed where I was gonna be worked on. So it was like right here, and then they reeled me in, they like pulled me or pushed me right next to it. So they matched, because I was a little bit higher, so they brought it down, and then they were like, okay, can you like hop over to the other bed? And I was like, yeah. Mind you, I was like propped up a little bit on this bed. So when I went to lay down like on the surgery bed where they were gonna do my surgery, I just remember like, whoa, like laying down because I was propped up. So like the feeling of like going all the way back down was like weird to me. I was like, dang. And then I remember him, my nurse, put something plastic, like he put like a plastic blanket kind of thing, and he put it from like the waist down. After that, like it was like I closed my eyes and I'm listening to them talk, and the only thing I remember was opening up my eyes and the nurses were putting like the gas mask on me. It was like I closed my eyes again, and then I opened them, and I still see like the gas mask on me, and I started coughing a lot. Like I was like coughing because of like the scent of it, or like it's like very strong gas, and I just felt it like not burning my throat, but it was just like if you guys are very sensitive to like spray paints or stuff like that, it's like a higher level than that. It's just a little bit like, and like I remember asking a question like about the gas that they were putting on me, and then I just like look at the anesthesiologist, and then like everything went black. Literally it was like 2 seconds, and then I'm hearing like the nurse wake me up, and she's like, okay Andrea, like sweetie, it's time to wake up, like it's time to wake up. And I remember like waking up and feeling like my boobs were just so huge. Like I remember feeling like they were swollen. Like right now they're still a little bit swollen, but they were like up here. So I remember being like, holy crap, like my boobs, like everything about them. Like, oh, by the way, I got my incision under the muscle, the inframammary incision. And I remember just feeling like, holy crap, like my chest is so heavy. If you're ever like breastfed, it feels like being super engorged and like you did a heavy chest day, both together. That's what my boobs felt like. So I'm telling the nurse like, I don't know, like I'm in pain, like can I get like some painkillers? And so she was like, okay sweetie, just get up, let's get your bra on. So she gave me a Percocet, gave me some water and some honey graham crackers, because she wanted me to have something like in my system. So I'm telling you guys, like they took care of me like a lot. My 2 assistant nurses came and they like helped prop me up, and they were like, okay, just make sure you don't use like your hands to like push yourself up off of like the bed. So I remember I was still like I was still pretty like high off of like anesthesia, and Brandon recorded, so I'll probably like insert it. But I remember like just telling her, oh, like don't worry, I have strong legs because I squat, and like just using my legs to like get up. And like they were like laughing at me and stuff. And then it hurt when they put the surgical bra on. Now the surgical bra has hooks right here, and then it has 4 hooks right here. So I'm sitting on the edge of the bed, and she's like, okay, we gotta get the bra on. And so she like puts my arms through like the hole, and then when she comes and like squeezes my boobs together to close the closure right here in the front, I was just like, oh, they just felt so, like if you breastfed, you know what I'm talking about, like when you touch your boobs and they hurt. Like it's not like an awful pain, and I feel like I have a very high pain tolerance. I mean, I did a natural birth with my son with no meds at a birthing center, so I feel like I can tolerate physical body pain pretty well, but like it was just like so uncomfortable. By the time I'm getting, you know, they put me in the wheelchair, they're wheeling me to the car. Brandon like brings the car up closer, and the nurse is like giving Brandon extra like graham crackers for me to take, some water just for the road because we did have to drive 2 hours. I get in the car, and Brandon has to put my seatbelt on for me with like this strap thing like behind me. People say that like you get